Hello everyone, and welcome to another edition of Am I the Asshole? If you like hearing Reddit stories, it would really support the channel if you could hit the like button or subscribe. Let's dive into our first story right away. Am I the asshole for laughing in my cousin's face when she tried to stage an intervention for my drug use? I, 27 male, have a condition which causes me to overproduce earwax. I don't tell people about it because I was bullied for it growing up. Only my wife and parents know. Every other day, I have to put medication in each ear, let it sit, then flush it out with a rubber-tipped syringe. This prevents ear infections, vertigo, permanent hearing loss, and worsening of my tinnitus. I have dealt with all of these things to some extent, so I stay on top of my eardrop regimen. If my alarm goes off when I'm with others, I go to the bathroom for 20 minutes and knock it out. If I don't follow my schedule, I forget, so I can't put it off. 2 weeks ago, my mom hosted family dinner. My cousin Kara, 37 female, saw me waltz off to the bathroom to do my thing, syringe in hand, and asked what I was doing. I said just a minor medical thing. She kept pushing, but I didn't want to say anything because she gossips. I told her it's personal and scooted past. When I left, she was standing in the hallway. She asked what took so long and why the toilet didn't flush. I said none of her business. She said she didn't mean to offend. Last weekend, my friend called me to invite me out to lunch with some buddies. He said to meet up at his house so we wouldn't have to drive separately. I arrive at his house to find Kara and my friends sitting solemnly on the couch. Kara said they were here to talk about my problem and that they just wanted to help. I said there is no problem. Suddenly it clicked in my head what this was about. I couldn't help but laugh a little bit out of shock. She asked what was so funny, and I said, first of all, why didn't you talk to my wife or my parents? She said she didn't want to involve my enablers, which just made me laugh harder. She looked annoyed and said she was done trying to help. I said that's all right by me. She stormed out. I explained to my friends. They knew I have a condition, but never pressed me on it. I guess when Kara approached them, they thought I was lying. Obviously, I'd rather they know than worry about me being an addict when I'm not. I thanked them for their support anyways. Kara had apparently reached all of my friends through my social media. We all got a good hearty laugh out of it, which Kara must have heard because she was, of course, eavesdropping. She burst back in and told me to tell them the truth, to which I said I did. My friend kicked her out. We went for lunch, and I thought that was that. My mom called me yesterday and told me she had talked to Kara about the whole thing and explained. She said Kara was very upset with me and essentially called me an asshole for not explaining and laughing in her face and embarrassing her. I said I was embarrassed and that Kara had no right to my info. I think she shouldn't go around snooping and making assumptions. My mom still thinks I should apologize. Edit. Broke up the wall of text. Sorry about that. Not the asshole. She owes you a major apology, as her spreading untrue information about a possible drug addiction could have caused you to be harmed. What if somebody shared this information with your employer? Depending on your profession and your employer, you could have been suspended or lost your job. I don't know any drug addicts that have it on a daily timer, Lympheo. They tend to just follow their hearts on that particular issue. Not the asshole, rather obviously. I'll refrain from waxing poetic, but you have every right to be irritated about someone prying into a medical condition that you'd prefer to keep private. Not the asshole, obviously. Kara made a complete fool out of herself. You didn't have to help at all. Seriously, who says this person went into the bathroom for a mysterious reason, once that I know about? They must have a drug problem. And then to stage an intervention. Wow. Am I the asshole for kicking my 26 male sister, 29 female, and her children out over a toothbrush? This is a throwaway account. For some background that may be important to the story, I am a 26-year-old man, and I live alone. When I was 5 years old, I was diagnosed with high-functioning autism. Because of my autism, I have a special interest in the children's show Paw Patrol. It is a huge aspect of my life and personality, and I find myself often collecting merchandise from the show. One of my spare bedrooms is decorated completely Paw Patrol based, and the walls are covered in shelves where I display my figures' plushies. On to the story now. My older sister, 29 female, asked to stay with me for a week or two with her two kids, 11 and 9M, because I have an empty room and her husband had been having really bad arguments non-stop, and she needed to take a break and make sure it wouldn't affect her children's emotional health. Early Wednesday morning, they came to my place and I settled them into the guest room, different from the room I keep my merchandise, and had to go to work at about 7 a.m. I told my sister to just relax for a while and to make herself at home, with my only stipulations being she and her boys keep away from my merchandise room and my bedroom. I came home from work later on to the children asleep on my couch and my sister having a shower. Once I had went into my merchandise room to check up on it, it was a mess. Figures were on the ground and lots of my stuffed animals were moved from where they go on their shelves. Nothing was damaged aside from a Paw Patrol toothbrush that I kept sealed and on display. It was opened and on the floor. I got really upset at my sister and sort of wanted to cry. Autism affects my emotional regulation, especially when a situation is related to my special interest. And I started to ask my sister to replace the toothbrush since her children went in the room. I asked them all not to go in. I didn't raise my voice, but I was very upset and angry. She refused and told me I'm a deceit for asking her to replace something I left out in the open, and we just kept arguing. Eventually, I was close to having a meltdown because my Paw Patrol items are really important to me, and I felt ignored and belittled. I asked her and her children to leave my house and offered to get her a hotel room for a while because I was struggling to calm down. I may be an AH for acting this way. She screamed at me and called me dramatic and childish before slamming the door and leaving. I know the toothbrush wasn't that expensive, but I found myself feeling really upset because the boundary I set was broken and my favorite room was left a mess. Am I the asshole for making her leave? Not the asshole. You said, stay out of this private room. You can use all the public spaces. That's very reasonable. She let her kids go in the room and play with your stuff without permission, and they opened a packaged toothbrush for some strange reason. I mean, it's not even opening a toy, it's a toothbrush. Why would they touch that? Then she blamed you for leaving it out in the open, in the room they weren't supposed to be in. Now she thinks you should keep letting her stay there, where they will definitely trash your stuff on purpose now. Autism and special interest are red herrings here. They make this feel more important and emotional to you. But without that, if you were allistic and you had whatever in that room, she would still be totally in the wrong. Right? It doesn't matter if he's autistic or not. The sister is still the total asshole, whether her kids damaged a Paw Patrol toothbrush or an old war medallion. She let her kids into the off-limits room. Period, end of story, she's the asshole. You didn't kick them out over a toothbrush. You asked your sister to leave after she ignored your boundaries and dehumanized you by saying your wants and needs are not important. There might be a correlation to her dissolving marriage and the lack of respect she shows other people. Not the asshole. You asked her to leave because she specifically disobeyed the one rule you imposed on her and refused to accept accountability or responsibility, let alone apologize. It was disrespectful, and good on you for enforcing boundaries. You were doing her a favor, and she tried to take advantage. Not the asshole. Guests who don't follow the rules of the invitation, even if they're family, deserve to be sent packing. Also, no guest should ever damage their host's possessions. That's a universal rule of etiquette. Well, that's another episode of Am I the Asshole in the books. I really appreciate all of you who made it this far into the video. Of course, if you enjoyed this video, it would really help the channel out a lot if you gave the video a thumbs up, subscribe, or leave a comment down below. I hope that you enjoyed it, and I'll see you next time.